Have you ever asked yourself why light bulbs used to last 100 plus years, now we are forced to replace them every 1,000 hours? Or how in just a short 8-year period, the number of appliances that were purchased due to product defects more than doubled? Have you ever considered the fact that we're required to have the 6th edition of a textbook when the 5th edition is half the price? Well, if you're wondering why, the answer is simple. Lots of these companies are partaking in a phenomena called planned obsolescence.
Well, that's a good question. I guess it has something to do with the fact that, typically your computer is broken just one day after the warranty ends. So, just the intention of companies to include something in your device, I don't know what it is, but that makes it break just before you can actually repair it or replace it.
It's when companies build in sort of a time span into their products, so they break after a certain amount of time.
I think that planned obsolescence is when products break down after one day the warranty ends.
Planned obsolescence can be defined as when a company purposefully implements a strategy that ensures a current version of a given product will become out of date or useless within a known period of time. This guarantees that consumers will demand replacement products in the future, thus naturally supporting their demand. From the introduction of the original Mac computer in 1984 to the newest release of the iPhone 7 Plus, Apple has released numerous products that have drastically influenced the way we consume media and entertainment on a daily basis. However, the simple fact is that we are always demanding more. We want to be the first to participate in a new trend or the first to own the latest in technology. Now, the problems arise when these products that we rely so heavily upon to keep us connected to the world, to light our houses, to wash our clothes, to entertain us, and so much more, either cease to work or become obsolete because there is a newer, better, or shinier product available. Given this deadly combination of consumer preference and increasing product defectivity rates, this begs the question whether these products are being dealt with in an ethical manner when they become obsolete or disposable. This phenomena was first recognized in the 1920s. This was a time of recession where marketers needed a new way to boost the economy, so they began shortening the lifespan of their products to create more demand. Light bulbs were the first products to be affected by planned obsolescence. The largest producers of light bulbs at the time began reducing the product lifespan to 1,000 hours. By doing this, they aimed to increase consumption and therefore increase their sales. Producers experience immense pressure and stress when it comes to customer retention. That is why many companies began a process in which they would continuously update and change several product characteristics, such as design, technology, function, or fashion, in an effort to increase customer engagement and retention in the long run. Many people believe that producers are solely responsible for planned obsolescence, but in reality, society as a whole should share the blame. People always want the latest products even though their current products may be functioning just fine. The increasing income and access to credit are factors that make this issue of obsolescence even more prominent. The simple fact is, our consumerism-based culture is only enabling this problem to grow. There are 4 different types of obsolescence. The first type of obsolescence are disposable products. Disposables are the products designed to be only used once and then thrown away. The best example of a disposable product are plastic cutlery, razor blades, or tissues. A second type of obsolescence is system obsolescence. This concerns the products for which there are no spare parts provided or compatibility available. Products can be designed for limited repair, which means it costs more to fix it than to buy a new one. This was the case for the example of the iPod Shuffle or the MacBook, which has one of the worst repairability scores possible, scoring 1 out of 10, with 10 being the easiest to repair. The perfect company to reflect this point is once again Apple. Apple was the first to implement an integrated battery into their phone. You could no longer change it when it broke down, you had to completely upgrade your phone. Consumers even created a petition to denounce Apple for designing software upgrades that slowed down the old models to make them buy the new ones. The third type of obsolescence is called planned breaking obsolescence and is mainly concerned with electronics. In this case, the products are designed to break after a certain number of uses or just after the warranty expires. Nowadays, household appliances last less than 5 years. Has it always been like this? A study shows that computer lifespan decreased steadily from a mean of 10.7 years in 1985 to 5.5 years in 2000. Finally, the last type of obsolescence is called perceived obsolescence. After a certain amount of time, products are not seen as being fashionable or trendy anymore. Even if they are still in perfect shape, they are viewed as out of date and thrown away, so people can buy newer products. This is mainly possible thanks to the attractiveness of the products by low prices. This is particularly true for the clothing industry. Many clothing companies try to make products outdated as soon as possible to make room for new arrivals. This is particularly true with stores such as H&M. Neil Burse, Director of Marketing at Queen's University Smith School of Business, said, "We've entered a world where having the latest, most capable phone in our pockets is something that's expected. It's not a luxury."
Yes, I think Apple is guilty of planned obsolescence because they bring out new iPhones every year with a new design and new aspects, and that makes people buy new iPhones every year, while the other ones are still working.
I would have to say that they are, just because they come out with new products so often, and consumers generally purchase new products from Apple at least once a year, whether it's an iPhone, iPad, new MacBook. So yeah, the fact that they just throw their old products away and buy a new one, definitely guilty.
Whatever the truth, it is clear that many customers would prefer their old iPhones to work better and for longer. And yet we do not see this harming their loyalty to the brand. They get angry at the vendor of the software. They don't readily make the connection between the fact that it's Apple's policy. Planned obsolescence drives consumerism, and in turn, consumerism drives planned obsolescence. While mass manufacturing practices significantly lower costs of production and hence purchasing cost to the consumer, there are still indirect costs associated that cannot be seen on a price tag. The consumers may bear this cost in reduced product quality or health risks. The workers of the company may bear this cost in lower wages or exploitative practices. And the environment may bear this cost in greater pollution or resource depletion. Have you ever owned a watch that stopped keeping time seemingly moments after your 2-year warranty is up? A lot of the time, this is not an accident. Warranties exist to create an illusion of confidence in the product quality, but they usually indicate how long a product is actually going to last. The practical implementation of planned obsolescence elicits ethical concerns. Electing to use planned obsolescence in its functional sense involves engineers sabotaging their designs, rendering them dysfunctional prematurely. It also requires the concerted effort of marketing to belittle the existing products on the market, reducing consumer satisfaction as a means to spur the purchase of the newest available goods. While in service of the firm's profits and survival, the conduct of its employees to achieve this end is certainly questionable. Frequent product renewal cycles encourage restriction of the full flow of innovation to an artificially consistent trickle. There is less pressure for employees to design a perfect product. Instead, model improvements are used to motivate continuous innovation. For our industrialized society to continue to operate, goods and services need to be churned out, purchased, and consumed. Factors of production need to be utilized at near capacity to ensure sustained employment and incomes. Corporations have little choice than to bring out the latest models of cars, computers, and mobile phones, with sometimes added features that might add a little value to the consumers in terms of money spent. There are also negative side effects of the practices of planned obsolescence. The disapproval of customers can lead to a decrease in sales in the long run and even affect the company's brand image negatively. Customers tend to be dissatisfied if a product wears out too fast, but are hesitant to believe that this is an intentional rather than a harmless defect. Perhaps the most concerning externalities of the norms of planned obsolescence are the immense detrimental effects that consumerism has on the environment. Are companies considering their duties of citizenship and social responsibility? There is a universal agreement that in business practices, the highest consideration should be given to the needs of the user, the community, society in general, and the environment in particular. Creating a never-ending flow of new products takes advantage of human nature's endless thirst for amusement. But it curses us as well, creating waste without much thought to where it ends up. And without some demand for sustainable products, manufacturers and thereby designers will never step up to do what is right for the many rather than what is convenient for the few. This is true in fast fashion. Only 0.1% of clothing collected is recycled into new textile fiber, which is eventually rejected by secondhand stores due to their bad quality. Furthermore, not everyone considers their consumption of durable goods as part of their environmental footprint. In 2013, 3.1 billion tons of electronic waste was produced in the US alone. The problem of electronic waste, a product category most affected by planned obsolescence, has contributed greatly to the many dangerous and toxic landfills in countries like China, India, and Ghana. In a Chinese city with more than 3,000 registered recycling businesses, the money comes at a cost. Lead levels in children's bloodstreams have been high enough to cause irreversible brain damage. While an indirect effect of planned obsolescence, our nonchalant attitude towards regularly disposing of unwanted goods certainly exacerbates the environmental problem at hand.
And no, I'm not gonna stop buying stuff because I know Apple's guilty of it and I still have an iPhone. Yes, I would.
Have you ever owned a fridge, a mobile phone, or even a pair of stockings that were easier to replace than repair? And you have experienced firsthand the unpleasantness of planned obsolescence. How can we prevent this from happening? One option is changing the legislation. A good example is French new decree according to which manufacturers are required to tell all consumers how long their appliances are intended to last. If they want to avoid a potential fine of 15,000 euros, manufacturers must also notify buyers with a period of time that spare parts will be available for each product. Moreover, from 2016, manufacturers are required to repair or replace free of charge any defective product within 2 years from its original purchase date. Companies will also be liable to prison sentences and fines of up to 300,000 euros if practices of planned obsolescence are found to be performed. Government should also include reforms in relation to pollution. It means that companies should take responsibility for their waste. Another option for improvement is to raise awareness about obsolescence through society. We are all equally responsible for our consumer preference and the acceleration of the depleting resources in our environment. How can you help to prevent obsolescence?
One of the first things that I look at when I'm buying clothes is the fabrication. So like if somebody asks me what I'm wearing, I'll be like, I'm wearing wool, silk, cotton, and leather, and not, polyester.
Think about whether you need an item before you buy it. Avoid buying single-use products. Borrow, lend, rent, and share things. Recycle your electronic waste. And most important, stop promoting disposable products.
The easiest thing that we can all do is simply slow down, buy less, buy better, and feel happier and more content with what we already have.